Before diving into this incredible story, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, every story has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. In the luxurious corridors of New York's most prestigious tower, Alexander Bennett, charismatic CEO and confirmed bachelor, surveyed his empire with icy confidence. With a flick of his wrist, he managed companies worth millions, but none of them could fill the void he felt in his personal life. The night before, at a glittering gala where socializing and champagne glasses mingled, he had met a woman. Mysterious, audacious, she had managed to break through his mask of indifference. Just one night. Just one moment of stolen intimacy in the shadows of a hotel room, and yet, his mind couldn't stop circling around her. The problem? He knew nothing about her. Not her name, not her face outside the shadows, not even a clue as to who she really was. All he knew was that delicate scent that lingered in her sheets and that laugh that still echoed in his memory. That morning, in the large kitchen of his sumptuous residence, Emily, his discreet young maid, was serving breakfast. She knew all the secrets of the house, but Alexander would never have imagined that the sweet and silent young woman who was putting away the glasses and preparing the coffee was the one who had been haunting his thoughts since the day before. Alexander, in his office, scribbled notes, descriptions, hypotheses. He knew he had to find her. He didn't yet know that the love he was searching for in the stars had been under his roof since day one. Fate, however, laughed at appearances. Alexander Bennett couldn't concentrate on any of the meetings that morning. Even the multi-million-dollar contract with a European company seemed pale in comparison to the vivid memory of that mysterious woman. He summoned all the gala organizers, the hotels, the security services, describing every detail, the soft voice, the slightly sweet scent, the gentle laughter that had crept into his dreams. No tangible clues, no solid leads. All he had was a growing obsession. Meanwhile, Emily continued her routine at the Bennett house, unaware of the storm brewing in her boss's mind. Every movement Alexander made in the office brought a quiet smile to her face. He was so focused, so serious, so human. She admired the discipline and intelligence of this man she saw every day, never imagining he might be looking for her for any reason other than professional ones. Alexander then decided to take a bold step. He hired a discreet team to investigate every guest at the gala. He wanted to find her, no matter the cost. Every photo, every face, every name, everything would be scrutinized. But the more he searched, the more fate seemed to conspire against him. For Emily, who took care of the laundry, the meals, and every last detail of his household, was there, under his roof, invisible to his eyes. The day he would cross paths with her in the hallways, her scent haunting him, he didn't yet know that the obsession of the previous night would reveal itself right before his eyes. And for Emily, the simple act of serving Alexander his coffee that morning completely ignored the fact that she was about to become the center of this cold and implacable man's world. The game had just begun. For the past few days, Alexander seemed unable to concentrate on his business. Every gesture, every scent in the house reminded him of the mysterious woman from the gala. He was beginning to notice strange details, coincidences that seemed to defy chance. One morning, while working late in his office, he caught a whiff of that familiar scent. Right there, behind him, was the light, sweet fragrance that had haunted him since that night. He turned sharply, but there was no one there. Only Emily, passing by in the hallway to set down a tray of coffee. She greeted him shyly and continued on her way, unaware of the stir she had just caused. Alexander frowned. Was it possible? He knew he had never met Emily in this context, and yet, something in her walk, in the softness of her voice, seemed strangely familiar. He began to observe her subtly, searching for signs, gestures that might confirm his intuition. Emily, for her part, suspected nothing. She continued to work carefully, mentally noting every detail of the house, always careful not to disturb her boss. But sometimes she felt a gaze following her, intense and curious, which made her slightly uneasy. One evening, Alexander found Emily in the library, leafing through a book he particularly loved. She smiled when he entered, and he felt that same familiar spark that had charmed him at the gala. His heart beat faster. And for the first time since that memorable night, he began to consider that the woman he had been searching for was not a stranger, but someone who lived under his roof, invisible to his eyes until then. Doubt, attraction, and curiosity now swirled together in an irresistible vortex. Alexander was ready to cross a line he had never dared to cross before. And Emily, unknowingly, was about to turn the life of the city's most powerful CEO upside down. Alexander Bennett could no longer ignore the signs. Every encounter with Emily, even the most innocuous, left him unsettled. Seeing her smile as she set down a tray, smelling her light perfume in the air, hearing her soft voice as she answered his questions, everything reminded him of that mysterious night that had shaken his heart. However, he had to remain in control of himself. Alexander knew that giving in to his emotions could create inevitable chaos. So, he decided to approach Emily under a professional pretext. He began asking her more questions, assigning her small tasks around the office, just to have a little more time with her. Innocent and observant, Emily noticed the change. Her boss seemed more curious, closer, but she couldn't guess the real reason. She sensed a certain warmth in his gaze, but thought it was simply fatigue or work pressure that sometimes made it seem intense. One afternoon, as Emily was arranging files on Alexander's desk, their hands brushed against each other. The electricity of that simple touch made Alexander's heart race. He tried to hide his emotion, but his eyes betrayed his unease. Emily glanced up at him and gave an embarrassed smile before abruptly turning away. That moment, however brief, changed everything. Alexander understood that he was ready to do anything to discover if Emily was indeed the woman who had illuminated his night. But he had to proceed cautiously, concealing his quest behind a veil of professional normalcy. Every interaction became a game of subtle seduction, stolen glances, and innocent gestures fraught with tension. Fate, meanwhile, continued to play its part. It drew their two hearts closer, while leaving an air of mystery. Emily was still unaware that every smile, every word, every touch was a step towards a revelation that could transform her life forever. Alexander Bennett felt the mystery drawing closer. Every gesture Emily made, every soft word she spoke, every glance she gave him seemed to echo the memory of that unforgettable night. He now had a suspicion: what if she really was the woman he'd been searching for? But he couldn't rush things. The risk was too great. Emily was his maid, a daily presence in his life, and revealing his obsession or desire would be both unwise and dangerous. So he decided to test his intuition with small maneuvers, innocent questions about her tastes, remarks about the gala, situations where he could observe her reactions. One evening, he arranged a mock meeting in the living room, asking Emily to help him find a certain document, important for a client. When she entered, her eyes sparkling with curiosity, he caught that intoxicating scent again. He talked about the gala, mentioned the city, the cool breeze, the music, little details he knew a stranger wouldn't necessarily understand. Emily seemed confused, but answered honestly and simply, without understanding the true intention behind each word. Alexander mentally noted every gesture, every tremor in her voice, every beat of her heart that he could discern through her eyes. The tension was palpable. Alexander was now caught in a mixture of desire and caution, aware that every move could reveal his quest. Innocent Emily continued to approach him, unaware that she was the center of his obsession. This interplay of glances, subtle words, and unspoken signs only served to bring their worlds closer together, while leaving a veil of mystery hanging in the air. Alexander knew he wouldn't be able to wait much longer before finally discovering the truth. And Emily, unaware of everything, would soon cross the border between the everyday and the unexpected. Alexander's heart was pounding. For days, he had been playing a delicate game, observing Emily, testing her reactions, trying to confirm his intuition. And that evening, in the hushed silence of the office, the truth finally revealed itself, closer than he could have imagined. Emily was there, folding papers, her hair slightly tousled from the day, the familiar scent lingering around her. Alexander moved closer, unable to look away. "Emily," he said finally, his voice betraying a mixture of apprehension and desire. She looked up at him in surprise. "Mr. Bennett?" He moved closer, placing a hesitant finger on the desk, as if testing the waters. "Tell me, last night." His voice broke slightly, revealing his suppressed emotion. "Was it you?" Silence fell. Emily looked at him, confused but attentive. Then a faint smile appeared on her lips, the one that had captivated Alexander from their very first meeting. "Yes," she murmured softly. "It was me." The shock was immediate. Alexander felt a mixture of disbelief and happiness. The woman he had been looking for, whom he had dreamed of finding in the crowd of strangers, had been there, under his roof, in front of him, all this time. The barriers crumbled. Their hearts beating as one, they drew closer, and for the first time, Alexander felt he could be vulnerable without losing his strength. Emily, for her part, understood that this encounter was not mere chance, but a destiny that had brought them together, despite the difference in their worlds. In this revelation, the house resonated with a new harmony, that of two souls who had unknowingly been searching for each other, and who had finally found one another. Mystery, desire, and caution gave way to an unexpected but profound love, promising to transform their lives forever. The game was over. But the story was only just beginning.